short to Hollywood. Ooh, but I'm taking a Greyhound on the Hudson River line. I'm in a New York state of mind. It was so easy living day by day, out of touch with the rhythm and blues. But now I need a little give and take. The New York Times, the Daily News. Oh, it's come down to reality, and it's fine with me, 'cause I've let it slide. Don't care if it's Chinatown or on Riverside. Ooh, I don't have any reasons. I've left them all behind. I'm in a New York state of mind. I'm just taking the Greyhound on the Hudson River line. 'Cause I'm in a New York state of mind. Ooh, New York state of
Hello everyone, I'm Brian T, and welcome to Brian T World. This is the Pride 2014 episode, and I have with me two very familiar special guests. They are back for more
Hilarity.
madcap hilarity.
Insanity.
They become staples of our Pride episodes.
We're hijacking the show, people. I'm center scene, so I look thin. That's
Please
why they're on my
welcome
side.
from the Keystone Alliance, John DeBartola,
Hi,
and
everybody.
the lovely Miss Christian Diane.
Hi there. I'm also the vice president. For those of you who don't always remember,
Of the Hair Club for Men, thank you very much.
excuse me, talk about thinning hair.
Well, I have a full head of Dago hair.
I know.
We're talking about
Goes
Pride
the
now,
whole
yes.
way down.
Speaking of Pride 2014, the theme for this year's Pittsburgh's Pride was Be Brave. And so this was our celebration in Pittsburgh, the LGBT, gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender community. And so we had on the scene our roving reporters.
Well, so much is going on with the gay rights movement. I mean, there's so many new inroads being made. We're at a point now where we're so accepted. We need these events. I mean, our headliner for the event was the famous Shaka Khan,
Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan.
singing in the streets of Pittsburgh on Liberty Ave, bringing energy and enthusiasm. I mean, we just love Delta, don't we?
We love Delta.
I
Delta.
love Delta
And-
for my free tickets to cover this for them.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gary Van Horn.
And we're going to be showing you highlights from the event shortly. But before we get to that, overall, I mean, it's been quite a year, once again, for LGBT people in general. And
Did you know the very first trans rights bill is going to be introduced after this show airs in November by Representative Mark Cohen of Philadelphia. It's the first ever in Pennsylvania history.
I want to talk to you guys about your feelings and thoughts on how this year has been overall. What do you think about why it just seems like the anti-gay religious zealots are having a comeback. They're trying to make a comeback here with what's going on in Russia and Uganda. You know, this whole idea of, well, we still in 2014 have this nonsense going on where people are saying being gay is a decision that is made, a choice. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know anybody personally that woke up one day and decided, I'm gonna be homosexual today, or I'm gonna be bisexual today. But overall, does it seem like the anti-gay agenda has made a resurgence?
But if you notice, it's made a resurgence in other countries, not here, where it's up to what, I think 17 states now I can legally get married in, plus the District of Columbia. There is so much going on here, they have to move the hate somewhere else because they found out it isn't working here in the good old USA anymore.
And they still try, but we've made so many inroads politically. We have so many politicians now who openly say they support gay rights. We have gay representatives. It's a matter of time. The fight is not over. What I like to believe is now we're at a point where it's not just about gay marriage or the gay issues. Gay people have to show support for the environment, for housing, for education, all the other issues. We can't just be defined as a gay community. Because I always hear that stereotype, the gay community. Yeah, we are a gay community, but we care about issues outside of that population. We care about it all.
But we have seen these anti-gay factions making some inroads, it seems.
Well, a lot
with
of it's
Duck
out
Dynasty.
of paranoia. They're scared.
Fear.
They are, a lot of them are even hiding in the closet themselves and don't want to face up to their truth. Because they're afraid that people will perceive them as less of a man if they're perceived as gay.
I think what was surprising, though, is this idea that people who are preaching against gay people, that is an attack on religious freedom, which of course is a lie. No one is being arrested for preaching against being gay.
And I respect their right to be able
I
to
do too.
it.
And so they're practicing their freedom of speech, and we saw that
Right.
with Duck Dynasty. So that's become a
We
moot
also
point.
saw Duck Dynasty die afterwards and lose all
Yes,
their
the ratings have.
They
I think-
peaked and died.
I think that really was an example of where that argument failed. That
They marketed it to death. I remember going into the gas station, seeing huge posters of, what was the guy's name who stars in the show?
Pat
I don't know.
Robertson.
I've never watched an
I've
episode.
never watched it either.
All I can say was when I had a friend of mine, straight, not to mean anything by that, come to me and said, I'm over Duck Dynasty because a big national retailer, we won't reveal, was selling lip balm with Duck Dynasty
I
on.
remember that too, yeah.
I work for a local retailer that does overstocks, leftovers, whatever. Do you know how much Duck Dynasty stuff we have in our clearance bin and it's not selling? Which to me tells me if we're getting it, the trend is over.
And I think that's a really hopeful sign that maybe the majority of the American people were able to see through the BS and see these people for who they really are, and that this argument that their religious freedom was being attacked was total nonsense. And so I think overall it just started to fall apart because it's just not true. They were able to say what they wanted to. This guy, whatever his name was able to speak out against gay people and got away with it and still got to have a show on the air. And so in the end,
But he also spoke out against black people.
that's true.
There's other videos that came to light as a result of all this that shows you how the white male, a lot of them in this country, is still looking down upon anybody who is different from them, whether it be male, female, black, white, gay,
Hate.
straight. They don't care. They think they're above it all, and they're finding out they're not.
And so, Johnny, what do you think, though, overall, with Americans out there who are anti-gay, and they seem to be mostly on the right politically, conservatives, fundamentalists, what do you think they're going to be, at this point, trying to accomplish? Like, how do they go from here? Like, does it seem like they're just grasping for straws at this point? Because
If you look at the civil rights movement back in the 60s, it's the same comparison. When they were trying to subjugate the blacks, all of those people who had all that hate, the pictures are identical when you look at the same hate group shots. I think in time, as we get more and more acceptance, We're going to discover that those groups lose their influence and power. They won't get elected politically. They won't have the same financial backing. We're in a real shift here in America with the next presidential election in 2016.
And where we have seen every single argument against gay marriage legally fall apart. You know, and I think of one of the most ridiculous, of course, is that gay marriage will lead to polygamy. So somehow, and of course,
everything else leads to polygamy. Why shouldn't that?
Right,
Yeah.
but that's just it. I mean, that's just an example of the absurdity, like how gay marriage, a single marriage, would lead to multiple marriages just because it's a gay couple.
Or they claim bestiality.
Right.
There's all
But
sorts
my
of
thing about the polygamy thing, look at the Mormons, nothing personal to the Osmond family, but I mean, we have Sister Wives and this show and that show where they're showing polygamy. It's straight people.
Well, that show Big Love on HBO was all about multiple
Right.
wives. And people loved the show. It was a hit.
Right, and really it's about the fact that we're talking about a single marriage versus multiple marriages, and why would the fact that it's a homosexual couple, why would that be any more influencing?
Because it's a reason for hate and control. And as we get more and more states accepting legalized gay marriage, we're going to, the issue of gay divorce, I'm waiting for all the lawyers to start talking about that because that's going to be the next big hurdle.
Because nobody got a prenup, did you?
No, they all got married in this big huff, and now it really is about, you're right, it's about money. Everything is about money and financial resources. It's sad but true.
Yeah, and so it brings us to why we're here, why I produce this show, is to raise awareness for the Trevor Project. Very valuable organization, and they are helping LGBT youth in crisis. And you can go to their website on the screen, and you can reach out to them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you are a young LGBT teen, or you know someone who is an LGBT person in trouble, a troubled youth, you can contact them. You can also call them and speak to someone. And I think that really is still, with everything going on, and we have had some positive changes overall for the LGBT community, we still need this resource. It's still necessary. And I'm gonna make a deal with everybody out there, because if you're sick of seeing me on your TV screens, then my promise to you is, my vow is, I will go away when LGBT teens no longer have to be bullied or harassed in their high schools. They can go to school and not be tormented. I promise that I will go off the air, and you heard it here today.
And no more suicides. That is the worst part about it all, is all these poor children that feel they have nobody to turn to, that have to, their only way out is to die, and it's a shame because they could be our great leaders of tomorrow, or cure for cancer, or who knows what, but because somebody is bigoted out there and prejudicial against somebody, or what they perceive as something even, they end their life. I mean,
And acceptance starts at home. You know, families nurture their gay children. You're not different. That Trevor Project has it's the right idea. If the family supports you, then your friends support you, your school supports you. Continue a cycle of support.
Seriously speaking though, I really do want to encourage people that if you haven't already educated yourself about this, go to their website, thetrevorproject.org, find out more information, and we hope that you'll be supportive and help someone out there that is in trouble. And so if you know an LGBT kid, let them know about this, that it's available for them in case they aren't already aware.
And reach out for resources.
and reach out yourself, because you never know, you could be the one that makes a difference in that child's life.
A kind word, a smile, anything you can do an act of kindness goes a long way.
And a positive role model.
And we'll be right back after this.
I was feeling so alone.
I was going through a really difficult time.
I didn't want to bother anyone.
I didn't think they'd understand.
It was tough at first, but I did it.
I'm glad I asked for help.
I asked my teacher.
I asked my dad.
You can do this.
Whatever it is, ask for help.
If you're thinking about suicide or need support, call the Trevor Lifeline. Trained counselors are there to help 24/7.
Welcome back to the Pride 2014 episode of Brian T. World, and I have with me John DeBartola and Miss Christian Diane, who have become staples of the Pride
We
episodes.
hijacked your show. What are you talking about? We took
For
it
God's
over.
sake.
We
It is
stole
now
it from
going
you.
to
We're
be,
gonna
yes,
take it over.
It's going to be the John DeBartola and
Yeah,
Miss Christian
we're just gonna steal it.
show here soon. Well, actually, John is also the assistant director and executive producer of the Miss Public Access TV 2014 pageant. We've had quite a year with that show also, because for those of you who don't know, John was antagonized and harassed for months by a certain individual in the community who I believe nameless, but she accused both John and I of stealing the name of the pageant from her. But just for the record, and I just want to clarify this once and for all, both John and I do not know this individual. We've never met her personally, and we're not even sure how this all got started. But we had already trademarked the name of our pageant. We legally owned the name, and so somehow she was accusing us of trademark infringement.
Intellectual enrichment of her trademark.
But the bottom line is, this is an individual that was going to great lengths to the point of obsession of antagonizing.
Letters, phone calls,
And this
threats.
is a member, this is a member of the community who does a lot for the LGBT community, didn't even know who this person was, and he was being threatened
And
with
it wasn't
legal
just
action.
me, it was a lot of our,
It was
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
our
the
members.
other local
Intimidation.
groups that did it, all over one word, Pittsburgh.
And what's unfortunate about it is, I don't take lawsuits very lightly. Those of you who know my history know that I have had several nationally known lawsuits. There is a possibility in the future that this issue will be taken on further legal action. I'd like an apology from this individual. She can call me on the phone, send an email. We'd like the use of our paid for state recognized trademark. I think we deserve that right. So in the near future, you may or may not see legal action by the newsletter against this individual for the right to use our trademark and for her to back down on harassing us. And if that
You gotta
means-
realize there's also pending lawsuits out there with the other gay groups over the word, using the word Pittsburgh.
and that's been an ongoing problem. I don't like to threaten lawsuits. Legal action is very difficult, very expensive, but if we have to, we will be sending a cease and desist letter probably in the next few months after you see this. If we're not allowed to show our show with our trademark, I don't think she should be able to show hers either, because we own our trademark legally. If the station's gonna do it for one person, they should do it for the other.
And the bottom line is, this is someone who is trying to be a role model for the youth of the community. And I think that that demonstrates to me the true character of this person. To go to the extent of what this person did, and not just, as Christian mentioned, to John, but other people.
Well, she tried to get me to back down. I kept getting letters in the mail, certified mail, claiming I'd have legal action taken against me if I didn't cancel the pageant. As one of the co-owners of the trademark with Brian, who also helps run this show, I guess her idea was if she got rid of me, you wouldn't have a pageant.
And ultimately it failed because, even though we had to
And,
Compromise.
I like to
Alter.
say we're word perfect. I don't mind dropping the word Pittsburgh from our title because it is just a word. We did win in other areas because the show is back on the air. You're watching us right now.
We did have to alter it for the sake of the TV broadcast, but legally speaking, we still own our trademark name. And
For 5
no
years.
lawsuit has taken place because this individual has no case.
And what's amazing is we are a show that sponsors awareness for the Trevor Project, an anti-bullying national campaign. And
That's-
here we are in Pittsburgh trying to promote awareness for it, and we're being bullied.
We're being bullied. And
But the whole thing is, how much is directed against us is because of her pending litigation with a lot of the local bars and organizations in the GLBT community where she is hoping to attain financial gain.
Right.
Think about it.
And we'll be right back with some participants of the Miss Public Access TV 2014 pageant right after this.
I was feeling so alone.
I'm glad I asked for help.
Ask for help. If you're thinking about suicide or need support, call the Trevor Lifeline.
Welcome back to Brian T. World. I'm Brian T. This is the Pride 2014 episode. And earlier we were talking about a lot of the changes that have been going on for the LGBT community in 2014. And sort of keeping with the theme of Be Brave, of course that was this year's theme at Pride. John DeBartola and I, my assistant director and executive producer of the Miss Public Access TV 2014 pageant, decided to do something that some viewed as controversial, but we felt that this was going to be something that would remind everyone about inclusiveness and how we all need to just like be one people, because that's what this is really all about for us anyways. And so we decided that this year we were going to open the pageant to everybody, including actual biological females. And so I have with me today a contestant from the Miss Public Access TV 2014 pageant, a real female,
Yep.
Katrina Rose.
Thanks for inviting me out today.
So overall, how was the experience?
It was great. I had so much fun with my fellow contestants. The camaraderie in the dressing room was great. We were laughing and cracking up. There were a couple of wardrobe kerfuffles that should be on a blooper reel. They should really just make a blooper reel of what goes on in the wardrobe in the dressing room. It was amazing to be able to participate. I was welcomed with open arms by my fellow contestants. They helped me with my hair and makeup and made sure that my underpants weren't on and inside out as I went onto the stage. It was great. I had a really good time. I did catch some heat going into the pageant.
Why did you catch heat? What was that about?
There are several drag queens out there in the community that I maybe felt threatened by a biological female being able to participate in a pageant. It's not about, competing. I mean, I understand that the pageant's a competition, but I always thought that it was, also, just about being allowed to participate,
We had contestants who refused to enter because we actually I believe we are the first pageant in the country to have actual females in a drag pageant, to my knowledge. And we actually had contestants who were afraid to enter because they said it was going to be rigged for Katrina because a girl is entering. How do you respond to that?
Honestly, I was shocked when I heard that because I'm not the most feminine of women. I work with chainsaws 60 feet up in a tree for a living.
But so do most drag queens.
I mean, the way I saw it, I had about as much in common with them as they have with actual females. So I thought it was pretty even playing ground. I don't know what they were worried about.
Drag is an artful form of expression, and what we were talking about earlier, John and I, was about how this particular individual, and again, I'm not gonna say her name because she knows who she is and she's probably watching, she has this hatred towards it's apparent that she has this hatred towards the local LGBT community because she feels that somehow drag pageants are making a mockery of women and that they're making fun of beauty pageants, and that couldn't be furthest from the truth. And so John and I really wanted to emphasize that and make it clear that's not what it's about. And we've opened the pageant to transgendered contestants and now biological female contestants to give everyone and anyone and everyone the opportunity to be Miss Public Access TV. So that just kind of proves what John and I have been saying all along. We didn't come up with the name of our pageant and trademark it to make a mockery of someone else's beauty pageant like this woman thinks. We don't even know her personally, we never even heard of her pageant. That's not what we were doing. And as producers, John and I also, we have to make it interesting and
entertaining.
So we have to, come up with new twists and turns with the pageant, and so you're gonna get a little something for everybody, I think.
And the main goal of it all was to raise the awareness of the Trevor Project.
Yes.
And we did that. All the people, even if you're criticizing us,
Yeah.
you're still watching the show, learning about anti-bullying.
The reason why I agreed to do this, both last year as a judge and this year as a contestant, was because I firmly believe that this is a good cause. That we do need to raise awareness and about what's going on.
And with that said, we'll be right back after this.
I was feeling so alone.
I'm glad I asked for help.
Ask for help. If you're thinking about suicide or need support, call the Trevor Lifeline.
I was feeling so alone.
I was going through a really difficult time.
I didn't want to bother anyone.
I didn't think they'd understand.
It was tough at first, but I did it.
I'm glad I asked for help.
I asked my teacher.
I asked my dad.
You can do this.
Whatever it is, ask for help.
If you're thinking about suicide or need support, call the Trevor Lifeline. Trained counselors are there to help 24/7.
Welcome back. I'm Brian T, and you're watching the Pride 2014 episode, and I'm here with my familiar special guests, John DeBartola and Miss Christian Diane, and they were on location. And we have to thank, before we go any further, we have to thank Delta.
Yes, all those hours and hours of work to put together an event that 80,000 people show up for.
Something like that. Another successful
did a good
Pride
job.
Event.
Hundreds and hundreds of volunteers. They have their sponsors, their advertisers, their Equal magazine. They spend their whole year putting on events so that people like us can go to these wonderful street festivals.
And to bring somebody that's a legendary diva like Chaka Khan, I mean, I wrote about it in my column, in fact, that would be a wonderful entertainer to bring.
And for all the negative people who have comments about Chaka Khan, I liked her. I thought she was wonderful, it was well attended. People like to complain for no reason. It's very easy to complain when you have no ability to do the work. I mean, these people who spend their entire year tracing down the headliners, advertising. Well, you think of all the things they do. They deserve your praise, not your criticism. So Gary, we love you, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Gary Van Horn. Special thank you to the Delta Foundation. Everybody had a great time, and so we are going to now, we're going to watch the highlights from Pride 2014.
Beware, people.
Enjoy.
Beware.
We show all the angles. My name is John DeBartola from the Keystone Alliance Gay Life newsletter. We are at Pride 2014 in Pittsburgh. I'm here with my guest, Ivana DeBoer, Miss Steel City Snow Queen. How are you, Ivana?
I'm doing great. Limping, but I'm good. I'm here.
She had an accident. What did you do?
Sunday, Pride on Ellsworth, I did my last move during my performance, and I actually pulled or tore my hamstring. And I'll show you the bruise. So we're just healing up, and I'm here because I have so much pride inside that there's no pain in my body.
And you are the current reigning Miss Steel City Snow Queen.
Yes, Miss Steel City Snow Queen. Back in February, I actually won. That's Georgia B. Cummings pageant, and then it's also becoming again in February. So everyone look out for Miss Georgia B's Miss Steel City Snow Queen 2015. I would love to see the next current reigning.
Now, Ivana is well known for doing her flag dances. You have all the really pretty, you do all the
I have
Arabian dance.
I do, I love belly dancing because of the natural and ancient form of it. And almost anyone could do it no matter what size. And then I have a lot of silk fans that I work with and throw around. And then also silk work itself. And then if I just had a little bit more hips, I could have more hip action. But it's
Honey, you're hot. What made you become a drag queen?
When I was a little kid, my mom actually would always see me dress up in my one friend's outfits, and I'd go parade around, dance, and everything. And soon enough, they realized what was going to happen. They were like, he's going to become one of those performers. And then I remember I was like 10 years old. I seen two on Fu. And I seen RuPaul, and they were like, how do you know RuPaul? I just know who RuPaul is, Mom. And that was like my most favorite movies from my childhood was 2 on Fu. And then from there, when I heard Supermodel Cover Girl came out, back when I was a little toddler, I would take my grandma's nightgown and wrap it around my waist and walk through the hallway. Okay.
What's your performer name? What's your performer?
I know your real name. This is Spencer. He was one of our guests last year for the pageant. He's still looking hot, showing us all his clothes. How you been?
Good, good.
What have you been up to?
Not much. Work.
Who are you marching with?
Fab Scout.
Pittsburgh Pride 2014, and I'm here with my special guest, Mindy Wolf. Mindy is a new author, just published her book, Lacey's Forbidden Desire. How are you, Mindy?
I'm doing good.
Can you tell us about your book?
It's a family saga. It's about a girl that gets torn between three brothers, and it's really exciting. It's an erotic novel. It's a really good love story, and I'm really excited about it.
Very good. What brought you out to Pittsburgh?
I came out to visit Johnny and to see Pennsylvania. I've never been this far back east before, so it seemed like a great opportunity, and I'm excited to be here at the Gay Pride Parade. I've seen a lot of things out here. It's very exciting.
You can see everyone, there's a lot of people in the crowd. We have a wonderful Sunday. We're part of the Pittsburgh Pride Parade March today. We had a good time. I'm here with
110 degrees outside.
Amy Vodka House and Caramello. How are you guys?
Cum shots.
How are you guys?
Oh,
We're doing great. I know I'm wearing film this time.
Okay.
I didn't want to wear lentils.
I'm wearing vasectomy prosthetics. Hello. My look is inspired by Nina Dobari, Miss America 2014, the controversy, because she's different ethnicity than what people usually think is normal, but today your neighbors aren't always white. Now you go, Miss Disney Princess.
Well, I'm just Grecian because...
With red hair?
With red hair.
You look beautiful.
This is probably my third year.
Mine too.
Yeah. Were you in the parade?
Well, I'm from Bosnia. We ain't got this shit around there, so this is all new to me and I love it.
So what is the gay life like in Bosnia?
You get stoned, and not a good kind.
I give you credit for being in Pittsburgh and showing your quality.
Thank you.
And where are you from, Pittsburgh?
I'm from Pittsburgh, yes.
Third year. So what made you do drag?
Oh, Marsha drugged me into it a couple years ago as her drag Patsy, carrying her shit around, and I was like, I'm gonna carry it around, I'm gonna do it.
Okay, very good.
That's how I ended up in drag.
I'm here with Miss Keystone Alliance 2014, Lady Ashley Gilbert. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. A little hot, but fine.
Who is this right here?
This is my son, Kai. Say hi, Kai.
So what's going on in your world?
Nothing much, just really trying to get over my little shock or trauma that I had over the week. It's a learning experience, but I'll grow from it.
Well, since you brought it up, do I tell them what happened?
Okay, actually, I was cleaning my house just a regular day, and some guys decided to rob me, and they came in with shotguns and shot at me.
Where did they shoot you at?
On my right side, and I can't reveal these ones are my titio shows.
Now I saw on Facebook, I guess they shot through a wall to get to you?
Yes, I ran behind the wall, and actually the wall actually saved my life.
Well, I'm glad you're still here.
Yes, me and you both are. I don't know, it's crazy. Just I hope everybody enjoys and be proud and be who you are. That's what gay pride is all about.
Tell me, guys, now that we have legalized gay marriage, you planning on getting married?
Well, actually, all of our friends and neighbors have been asking us this. It's such a shock and such a surprise that we're finally at this point of our lives. And we are planning a wedding for the fall of 2015. So we're not getting married this year. We're going to have a nice fall wedding next year when we have time to plan, get our legal matters in order, and it's great that we'll be able to get married in our own town, on our own turf, on our own terms.
So what do you think this means for the gay rights movement in Pennsylvania?
I think overall for the state of Pennsylvania, it's a great step forward, not only for commerce and for equality, but for all the citizens of Pennsylvania. This is a great moment. I'm savoring this moment. I've been out for over 38 years, and I would have never thought that I would stand here and have the date to say that I would be able to marry my same-sex partner after 10 years.
So what do you think is the next civil rights battle for the gay community?
Well, currently in Pennsylvania, there's still discrimination on job discrimination, housing. You know, there's a lot of counties and communities that really don't have anti-discrimination laws in place. Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and other urban areas do, but smaller towns like Johnstown, PA, where we're from, again, don't have such laws. So we really need a blanket law to cover everybody, not only in Pennsylvania, but nationwide, against discrimination of any type, whether it be housing, jobs, sexual orientation, any of the above.
What do you think, Eric?
You know, I think that our next step is going to have to be like a hate crimes bill. Definitely, it's not right that you should be able to get fired from your job or be refused housing just because of your sexual orientation. I think that's going to be our next big step, is going to be a hate crimes bill for the state.
And in November, Representative Mark Cohen from Philadelphia is introducing a transgender rights bill in the State House. That is, what do you think of that?
Right, again, always in the LGBT community, it's always the T that seems to be ignored. Somehow the transgendered people are just lost in the fray. Everything's focused on gay men and lesbians, but the transgendered people and questioning people of gender really don't have the spotlight and have the representation that both the gay males and the lesbians do. So I definitely think there should be a lot more invested into the transgender community, more understanding, and also more acceptance of the transgender community by both regular gay men and lesbians.
Thank you both so much, and we'll be right back.
I was feeling so alone.
I was going through a really difficult time.
I was embarrassed and a little scared.
I didn't want to bother anyone.
I didn't think they'd understand.
I thought it would just make things worse.
It was tough at first, but I did it.
It ended up taking a huge weight off my shoulders.
I feel a lot better.
I'm glad I asked for help.
I asked for help.
I asked my teacher.
I asked my aunt.
I asked the Trevor Project.
Now, I feel like I can get through this.
I know that I am brave.
You can do this.
Whatever it is, ask for help.
If you're thinking about suicide or need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. Trained counselors are there to help 24/7. Ask for help.
Thank you for joining us for the special Pride 2014 episode of Brian T. World. And I want to thank all of the guests for today, Katrina, Christian, John, and Hal, AKA, otherwise known, she has many aliases, Mona Lautenbed. Of course, she was using that as a fake name in last year's pageants. We had to disqualify her, but then we allowed her to come back as her true name, Tracy, the Trailer Trash Girl, and then she was disqualified again. Well, actually, wait a minute. Who are these two? You're not really John DeBartola, and you're not really Christian Diane.
Don't you recognize us? We're the Bakers, Jim and Tammy Faye Baker.
Jim and Tammy Faye Baker.
Please send us money.
We didn't steal it. If those condominiums would have been allowed to survive, we don't have suitcases of cash. I mean, how can they accuse you and I of stealing?
How could they do it?
Where are the suitcases
children.
of cash?
We didn't
They
do
need
that.
their air-conditioned cat
What
house.
do you have in your refrigerator with the dolls?
I have the dolls to take to
Believe
Africa
us.
for the sick and dying children.
You didn't do
I
that.
have no money in here. There's no money.
No money. But since you did bring it up, I do want to say at the end of the last show, I got pied in the face. I'm a good sport. Mona, I accept your apology.
Mona has something that she would like to confess.
I love you, John! 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 You're great.
I was feeling so alone.
I was going through a really difficult time.
I didn't want to bother anyone.
I didn't think they'd understand.
It was tough at first, but I did it.
I'm glad I asked for help.
I asked my teacher.
I asked my dad.
You can do this.
Whatever it is, ask for help.
If you're thinking about suicide or need support, call the Trevor Lifeline. Trained counselors are there to help 24/7.
Hello, my name is John DeBartola, and I am the president of the Keystone Alliance Gay Life newsletter. Welcome to today's broadcast. Some people have said that Chicago is a circus of a town when you deal with the police. There are those that feel that is what is happening right here in Pittsburgh. Many of you know the story that I'm going to talk about, the story of A.J. Richardson. It's a story of a man who is, as he says, is being harassed by the police. And the police say they keep having to respond to 911 calls that are coming from his residence. They say he has a machete there, that he keeps his wife and his family trapped. And yet, the interviews on TV show a very distinct, different picture. So certainly it is a circus of sorts. It is a circus because what is the real story going on behind here? What is going on? And most importantly, who is making these 911 calls? And if it is not him as the police say it is, who is it? Why is this being created? And what is this circus of a show continuing to go on? Today to answer these questions is my guest, AJ's wife, Felicia Richardson. Welcome, Felicia.
Thank you, John, for having me here today. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to start off by asking you, how do you feel representing your husband in these affairs today?
I feel comfortable. We're a unified family. You know, we have family meetings. We talk about everything. My husband and I are one. Our children are one. We all are on one accord. So I feel very comfortable representing his thoughts and his views today.
I've seen in many of your videos, you are denying that your family are making the calls.
Yes.
And you are accusing who of making those calls?
We actually don't know who's behind making the calls, but whoever it is out there still. It's not us. We have not been making these calls. I work 8 hours a day plus. The last thing I want to do is have police showing up at my house 3 and 4 times a night, a day, showing up at my home 3, 4, 5 times at all hours of the night. We can't even sit down to have a peaceful, constructive dinner, can't even sit down to have a constructive conversation before our dog starts barking and police show up at our home yet on another 911 bogus phone call. And time again, we have told them that we're not behind it. Time and time again, they have told us that they believe us, and now we're in this situation.
Now, why do you think the police did what they did?
You know, I'm not definitely sure why. We're not of the thought that everyone on the police force is bad. It may not necessarily be the police in general, but might be a cooperative agreement amongst those that benefit financially from criminal activity remaining in a neighborhood.
Now, there were reports in the paper that said your husband abused you. We read reports about him holding a machete to you, keeping you and your kids held hostage. I imagine you dispute those accusations?
Most definitely. Over and over, time and time again, I've gone on the media. I mean, I've not been abused. I'm not this person that's claiming to have been held at gunpoint, been strangled, been beaten. There was one report where the husband was beating the wife and the children had marks all over their arms. All of my children came out. They were all wearing short sleeves that evening. No marks, nothing. I mean, if we were being beaten and the police showed up in my home, they would have really seen that. I would have been bloodied or whatever have you. As you look at me today, I am not beaten, and I've even displayed, you know, my neck and my arms to everyone. No marks, nothing.
Now, some of the criticism has been that you're all doing this for publicity, and then others have defended you saying the police force is inept. How do you respond to those?
We definitely would not do this for publicity. I mean, we have done things as a family, such as gone out and we have passed sandwiches to the homeless, made lunches within our kitchen taken our own money and have bought blankets and toiletries and socks and have gone throughout the city of Pittsburgh feeding the homeless.
So you do feel the police are inept then? That's what I want you to talk about.
I do feel that in this respect, in their investigation, they were most inept because it should not have taken over 120 telephone calls to come to the conclusion that, yes, you're going to accuse a family. And I told them outright in the beginning, in week 2 of these occurrences, that if they definitely knew that it was us doing it, we would have long time been behind bars. Over and over, time and time again, I requested that we come to the station and do a voice match to prove that it's no one in my household. I even said, you can hook us up to polygraph. We'll take a polygraph test. They did not want to do that. They refused each time to do that with us. And so just to say that we think that you're the ones doing it is just not enough for me. Doesn't prove that you are actually qualified to efficiently do your job.
Now, I've noticed the media has been very slanted against you. Why do you think that is?
I think that the media, as media always does, they look for the most excitable story. And so it's a little boring to portray a family as being innocent. If you tag along to all of the media hype of a family being guilty and all this is going on, they're very hungry. They're always looking for a story, and they're always looking for the most exciting, explosive story.
And they showed you all holding hands, singing when the cops were at your house to paint you in the worst. That's why I'm glad you came today to talk about your story.
Yes, they paint us in the worst light, but there are other videos in which we explain and that demonstrate that that we're not in the worst light. I mean, by the 50th or 53rd time, yes, you're going to get some emotion.
120 times.
Yes,
correct?
120 times, over 120 times, and even at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're waking up an entire family. You're not going to be met with anger, especially when police officers are coming and they're rude and they're obnoxious.
Now, obviously, we know your husband is fighting these charges.
Yes.
Do you think he will be vindicated, and what kind of plea bargains have you been offered already?
We definitely think that he's going to be vindicated. The entire family is going to be vindicated of this. Truth will always prevail, and I'm one that believes that, in the face of truth, truth always triumphs over lies. You can't build anything on a lie, and lies don't build a strong foundation, it crumbles. We've been offered many plea bargains.
So what have they offered you? You mentioned some about...
If I would admit to at least one count of fraud, that everything will be wiped away. If my husband would take, just one felony, I would suppose any felony of his choosing, that they would wipe everything away. All of his cases, everything that he's going through.
All the other prior lawsuits as well.
Exactly. Everything will be wiped away.
So being offered this, my final question to you is, what is your opinion of the judicial system that we have here in the city of Pittsburgh?
Well, actually, it's more so what is my opinion of some of the officers and the detectives of Zone 6. And what I believe is that they are very inefficient. And if I were to go a step higher to the DA's office, who should have ordered a full, thorough investigation with implementing voice technology, polygraphs, I think that they should have done that. I think that he was very inadequate at his position and his instructions to the police. He ordered them to come to my home and do search warrants, and they performed searches, 5 searches of my home, 3 in which we willingly walked the police through our home. They found nothing. They didn't find what they were looking for, this person in distress. They did not find this person. And 2 times we made them get search warrants. They looked through our home. So it just wasn't...
what, 5 times in one day, I believe?
5 times in one day.
Search warrant.
1 search warrant, 5 times in one day. And to me, I mean, just to say, I think on the basis of what? You didn't do a thorough investigation. So I am hoping and banking on the judicial system. I'm banking on the judges and or the jury to look at this with common sense and see it for what it is.
And AJ is also running for state rep.
He is. He's currently
on the ballot. This will air in October. If he wins or loses, what's your opinion politically for you guys?
Oh my gosh, I think that this would be a true upset in the city of Pittsburgh.
In jail to win an election.
Yes, and finally, I think the people of Pittsburgh and the people of our district will be putting their trust into someone that really speaks for the people. I mean, when my husband ran for mayor, he ran for councilman, and he's running for state rep. I mean, the constant message is that he's a man for the people. He's not a politician, never wanted to be a politician. He's just a man that cares about people and the community that he lives in. He wants everyone to succeed. And so I think that this would be a wonderderful thing.
So the question becomes, AJ, this fantastic manipulator, or is he a victim? And you're saying he is the victim.
He is the victim. He is the victim. He's actually the target, and his family are the pawns in that target, but he's actually the target because they just do not want, like I said, there are people that benefit from crime, and they benefit from unjust activity in certain communities like Sheridan, like Homewood, like Ferrywood. They benefit from that. They turn a blind eye to crime. Why? Because they benefit financially from that. So you wouldn't want someone coming in and talking about ridding the community of drugs. I'm getting a cut of that. Why am I going to support this individual that wants to mess with my money? And so...
And when you go see AJ in jail, this interview airs in October, you're going to visit him now in the jail.
Yes.
What message will you have for him?
To stay strong.
And to
continue to stay strong. Family is supporting him. Beloved friends are supporting him. I mean, there are people here in Pittsburgh, in the community, that I meet along the way in my daily travels that tell me that they support him, they support us, that it's a shame what's happening.
The whole town knows the name A.J. Richardson.
They know who
the
he
name.
is.
You see him on the news, the newspaper.
And they know what he stands for.
And this mystery is very disturbing to me because I know I've watched a lot of it going, you watch the YouTube videos, what is going on? So we appreciate the fact that you came today.
Thank you.
We'll have this air all over the Facebook for different media sources. Hopefully the newspaper will cover you. I hope viewers who are watching this that you take the time to research the Richardsons. They are claiming that they're being abused by a system that's not helping them get through this. They still need to find a public defender to help them fight the court cases. This is an ongoing story because this is something that needs to be discussed. This mystery has got to be solved. Whoever's making these bogus calls, whether it is the family as the police claim or whether it is some outside source, who is the culprit? And hopefully the police will find it before it affects the DA's election.
Yes. Hopefully.
So, Felicia, thank you for coming on the
show.
show.
Thank you so much,
John.
Give me a hug.
Thank you.
Thank you.